And now it's time for another episode of Translation with Brett A. Craig.
Gaines has been such a successful transphobe.
Transphobe meaning a person who doesn't think males should be in women's sports.
That her name is being attached to bills across the country trying to ban trans athletes.
Meaning banning males from women's sports.
And impede on trans rights.
Trans rights meaning males get to cheat and steal trophies and medals from women and girls.
And the thing that I can't get past.
Yourself.
Besides
yourself.
The transphobia and the hatred.
Hate meaning if you disagree with forking over all of women's rights to mentally ill men.
And the bigotry and just the hatefulness of all of it, right? Is that I can't imagine being such a sore loser that having to share a 5th place trophy.
Can't imagine that because you've never won 5th place in anything, not even ping pong at your barbecue.
With a trans woman.
A man.
Sent me into a years-long spiral. Riley Gaines has admitted that the thing that really bothered her was that when she tied with Leah Thomas, the thing that really upset her was that they gave Leah the trophy, and she got to stand on the podium with the trophy.
He got to stand on the podium with the trophy, and generally when people cheat and then get the honor of holding the trophy instead of the person that played by the rules, that generally makes people pretty upset.
And Riley had to hold the 6th place trophy, and they were going to mail her her trophy in the mail. And she just didn't think that was fair.
Exactly.
This has been Translation with Brett A. Craig. And now from Times Square, it's That Kevin Show. Somewhere in the bowels of the city that never sleeps.
Kevin McCullough, radio host with Salem Media.
Is a man also not sleeping.
Syndicated radio talk show host Kevin McCullough.
And that guy would like a word with you.
Many of you know him as Nostradamus.
Of course that Kevin show is going to be great. The only thing that could be greater, of course, would be that Donald show. We don't have that, so we have that Kevin show.
Featuring the music of Dick Tunney and the Dream in Color Orchestra. Straight ahead, the president told her story, Peyton McNabb. New info on family and the economy from Rachel Sheffield and Patrice Onwuka. Dr. Sasa takes us behind the Burmese curtain. Sketch comedy from Not a Parody, Brett A. Craig, and a new musical from Quite On Productions. And Jelly Roll returns to the spotlight. And now, from Times Square, the genius who thought it'd be a giggle to tell Representative Al Green to stand up on Tuesday night. Even wave the cane around. Yep, it's all his fault. Here's the Trevor.
All right, I'm not sure that I agree with that at all, Dave, but I'll take that up with you during the commercial break. Welcome to the weekend, friends. We got a lot to get to. And yes, it was an embarrassing week for the Democrats. I mean, they sunk lower than I thought people thought they could sink. And it wasn't just the absurdity of the night at the State of the Union. You had the kind of crazy ladies that were all wearing the pink blazers. And then they were sitting there, you know, because they're pretending, this is how it goes down. They're hearing the president speak and they're holding these little ping pong paddles that say stuff like Musk steals and stuff like that. And they keep flipping it back and forth. And I'm thinking, do they think they're having any impact on anything? And oh, by the way, President Trump was genius. He starts rolling out these stories that actually impact people's lives. And so you have a bunch of overweight, old, mid-level bureaucrat and congressional people sitting there with their little pink jackets on going, oh, wow, we'll show him. Then you have Dr. Cranky. Al Green gets up, waves his cane around. No microphone on. We can't hear you, dude. I don't know what you're saying. But whatever you're saying is not having any impact and you're not getting your message out. At least when Joe Wilson did it for the Republicans to Obama and he said, you lie. At least he said it loud enough that everyone could hear him. But you know what else happened when Joe Wilson did that to President Obama? Because I went back and looked at this. This is actual history. It's important to know. When Joe Wilson interrupted President Obama's State of the Union address, it caused a ruffle. He got censured the next day, and he wrote a letter of apology and delivered it to the president, and delivered an in-person apology to the president, and the president forgave him. A Republican got mad at a Democrat, did something he shouldn't have done, said he was responsible, took ownership of his actions, apologized, and the Democrat president forgave him. Here you have this donkey's backside standing up there going, of course, we can't hear him because there's no microphone. And there's Speaker Johnson. God bless him. He's so patient. He cracks it once. He says, we will maintain order. Please take your seat. Cracks it again. 3, 4, 5. He got like so many chances. And then so he has to be ushered out because he's turning into, a donkey's backside. And that's what he ended up being. Then the next day he comes back. Do you think if Joe Wilson said, "You lie," to President Obama and got censured, do you think that standing up and trying to stop the president's speech midway deserves a censure? I think so. I think it's a little bit worse than saying "you lie," because Joe Wilson only did it once and then he stopped. Al Green kept going. He kept trying to tell you, you have no mandate. What is a mandate made of, Mr. Green? 7 swing states. He swept all of them. You guys were walking around going, Kamala's going to take this home. And he took all of them from you. He won the popular vote by millions of votes. It wasn't close. It wasn't just like a little bit over the edge. He killed them. And he got 312 electoral votes, which is a big landslide. You only need 275. So any way you measure the election, he crushed them. And now this is the real problem, because I don't think that the Democrats who are elected are paying attention to what they're doing. He goes into his speech and he says to our friend Peyton McNabb, who's on the show tonight, she's here, we're going to talk to her. She's sitting up in the balcony. She looks beautiful in her black dress. She has her hair all done nice. And he tells her story. The President of the United States tells the story of how a trans athlete, male volleyball player playing in a female sport, spikes a ball and it gives Peyton McNabb brain damage. She was injured. She was paralyzed for a period of time. I'm going to ask her about it. She's been making her way back on the health routine. I'm very happy that she's doing better. I'll ask her about that a little bit later in the show. But here you have this heartbreaking story. You can't come together and applaud a girl that's overcoming brain damage and paralysis just to be there? No. All those pink ladies, they sat there with their hands folded. No, we're not going to do nothing. You're not going to make us get up and applaud. We're not. And then you have the moms of the slain victims from the illegal aliens, and you have the little 12-year-old, and he names the forest preserve after her. I mean, I was bawling. I don't bawl at the State of the Union. I don't cry about these things. They don't usually have things that touch people's hearts. But you're naming the forest preserve that she loved to play in. You're naming that for her. They couldn't applaud the moms. They couldn't even just say congratulations to the moms who endured this. And then don't even get me started on Laken Riley. They almost booed when he brought up the fact that the Laken Riley Act had been passed. You had the little kid up in there that had cancer. He'd been given 5 months to live. He's lived 6 years, and they make him a Secret Service agent. And then the one that really got me, he's talking to the young man whose father was killed by illegal aliens, and this young man has a 4.0 GPA, 4.36 GPA. He's an all-star athlete. He's doing everything right. He's taking care of his mama. His dad, law enforcement officer, was killed. He's always wanted to go to West Point. And the president says, you've been accepted to West Point. Your grades, your life, you're going to get ready to join the long gray line at West Point. That was incredible. He stands up his mom's crying. He hugs her. He's crying. She hugs him. And they sit back down. And before the camera cuts back to the president, the little kid with cancer comes up behind him to give him a hug and a high five. The kid with cancer is congratulating the kid going to West Point. Meanwhile, you have these stubborn, foolish Democrats sitting down there on their hands, on the floor, refusing to just appreciate fellow Americans. You don't have to like those people because they're Republicans, but their stories deserve your support. They do if we are the land of the free and the home of the brave. Well, all that to say, we've got a huge show. Stick around. It's coming right back. That Kevin Show for your weekend. Glad you're here.